She has a unique name and a pretty unique business if you don't live near the ocean, and she is convinced that there are some unique opportunities that will help her industry swim while others could be sinking. Hi, I'm Dave Price, and this is the American Farmland Owner Podcast. She is Karlanea Brown, and she's the co-owner of RDM Aquaculture in Fowler, Indiana. Karlanea is a shrimp farmer in Indiana, an occupation as unique as her first name. Now, her operation has no pumps, no filters, no antibiotics, and no hormones. And no, this was not her first choice for a career. So much to discuss this week in the following conversation, but I wanted to start it out this way. This will be the first time I've ever opened one of our conversations this way, but would you please share the story of your first name?
My first name is Karlanea. I was actually, when my mom was giving birth, she said that this name popped into her head. So she gave me the name Karlanea. I was supposed to be named Elizabeth. My middle name is Elizabeth. And my dad, for the first few weeks of me being born, had no idea my name was Karlanea. He kept calling me Elizabeth.
But he wasn't around when you were born, though, in his defense. He was out at work.
Yeah, he was out at sea. And when he got back, he kept calling me Elizabeth. And my mom said, "Why are you calling her that? Her name is Karlanea." And it's what makes it even more unusual is I'm the oldest of 5. And it's Karlanea, Cheryl, Jimmy, Joyce, Joyce, Jimmy, Joe. And so, I mean, they have the very common names, and I got the very unusual name.
So you were destined to do something unique, right?
My parents used to tell me that, yes, but I don't think they thought this was it.
All right, so explain. So how did you get into this?
That's even a little bit of a story of how I got into this. I married a hog farmer my senior year in college. Now, my degree is in fashion. Planned on being a fashion designer living in New York City.
Okay.
Well, when we got married, I literally thought you could move a hog farm to New York City. I didn't know anything about it. I mean, I went and visited his farm a couple of times, but I didn't know anything about it. Never met a pig or cow in my life until him. And so when I found out we couldn't move the hog farm, we ended up staying in Indiana. And when we stayed, we actually had about 5,000 head of pigs on our farm, and we just did the farrow to finish. Or just the finishing hogs, excuse me, and his parents did farrow to finish. And so I was trying to learn how to do the farm. I'm a city girl, never been on a farm in my life. Well, after 3 attempts of trying to be a farmer's wife, I ended up getting banned off the farm.
Uh-oh.
So I wasn't even allowed to bring him lunch or dinner or anything for fear I was going to screw something up. I mean, the first time I drove a tractor, I ran over 14 mailboxes. The second time I was driving the honey wagon, backed it up through the hog barn, had 100 pigs running around the yard. The third time they gave me a disc just to go out in the field, thinking, okay, I can't really screw anything up that way. Well, I ran over a barbed wire fence with the disc.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so I was costing them more money than what they really had in order to do all this. They said it was just safer for me to stay off the farm. So then where we were living, they were literally going to subdivide around it. I have 5,000 head of pigs. I'm going to be the most hated neighbor. And we knew that. So we moved out up here to Benton County in the middle of nowhere. We bought up as much property surrounding us so that we can continue raising pigs and not have to worry about neighbors. Well, we moved up here in this fall of 91 and the spring of 92. We'd already broke ground. We poured the pits for the 2 first hog barns we were going to put up. Hog prices bottomed out. For the family, that would have meant they would have lost everything. So they decided they still wanted livestock on the farm, but nobody on the family wanted to do cows, chickens, turkeys, the normal. But aquaculture intrigued my husband and my father-in-law. So for the next 15 years, they researched raising tilapia. Finally, somebody allowed them into their facility, and the gentleman had developed a tilapia system, but he'd also developed a shrimp system. Okay, I had no idea about any of it because I didn't care. I wasn't going to have anything to do with this. This was their thing. I've already been banned off the farm. I didn't care. So they decided to go forward with it. And when my husband poured concrete for the first building, his dad passed away.
Mm.
So it was like 3 weeks after we poured the concrete. So his dad never got to see any of this. So then I'm left just him and his mom. And so I was like, well, I'm still going to come out and help you. If you want to do this, you can do this. But at that time, we farmed 2,000 acres of corn and soy. We had an 8-man construction company. We also had 11 greenhouses with plants and produce.
Mm.
And we were told shrimp farming was only going to take a couple hours a day. So we can do that. You know, we
Sure.
had enough time, except my husband was going to be the one doing it, not me.
Yeah, what'd you care?
So he came home. This is 3 days before we got our very first shrimp. He came home. It took him 5 hours to test for one tank. Now we were only starting with 6 production tanks and 2 nursery tanks. 5 hours to test, 5 hours to test one tank. There's not enough hours in a day.
Yeah.
So he comes home and he's really upset because I mean, he's got all this money invested in this. He's like, this isn't going to succeed. He's already mad. I told him, I said, tell you what, I'll come out and I will teach you how to do all this because I multitask everything. Well, I came out, I did all 6 production tanks, 2 nursery tanks in less than an hour. I'm here 15 years later. I have only missed 3 days of work in 15 years.
Holy, how could you possibly save that much time?
I just multitask. He was doing one part of a test at a time.
And waiting.
Some of your tests take 18 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
Well, I do all the tanks at one time.
Yeah.
So by the time I'm done with one, I'm ready to proceed to the next one. So you can get it all done.
And the rest is history with that.
Production tanks. I'll run 19 production tanks, 7 intermediate tanks, and 6 nursery tanks, and I'm done in an hour and a half to 2 hours at the most.
So what's the hardest part about doing this? Because this whole concept is fascinating.
Well, what we do is we actually run a system that runs on biofloc water, or it just basically means we're using a heterotrophic bacteria, and it converts all the ammonias to nitrites, nitrites to nitrates. Nitrates in low dosages are not harmful to shrimp. We run with no filters and no pumps. So we let the water do all the work for us.
Okay.
We're basically duplicating the ocean to the best of our abilities. So the hardest part of this is maintaining that water at all times. That's why we don't even call ourselves shrimp farmers. We're guardians of water. That's literally all we do. And what the most amazing part about our system, my water is over 15 years old. We've been reusing our water since the very beginning.
How's that work?
We let the bacteria do all the work for us. And as long as we maintain her, the ocean, I always tell everybody, the ocean doesn't discharge your water every 6 months.
Sure, that's true.
And so we're developing that certain ecosystem that keeps them alive. And it's work to maintain her. Because we have no other elements that come in that can help either distort it or anything like that. So Mother Nature she's going to do her own thing sometimes. And she really don't care what we want. So we have to test every single day to balance her out, make sure she's okay.
So how big are these tanks?
I run 14-foot and 16-foot round tanks. When we started, we had 18-foot round tanks.
Okay.
The only reason we went down on size is because the shrimp farm has pretty much become my business. I own about 98% of it now. And my husband owns 2% just for tax purposes, I guess. And so, I can't work in the 18-foot tanks. They hit me like up at my chin.
Oh, sure.
So for me to work in them, I can't do it. So we had to go to smaller tanks. So it just gives me a little few less pounds than what an 18 would.
So you got a unique first name, but you didn't get a lot of height. Is that what you're telling us?
I'm 5'4". And I'm the shortest one in my family. That's why I kept growing up thinking I was adopted.
How do you, especially when you're starting out, and I appreciate that this is a growing industry, but, and I'm not trying to pick on your husband, but so when he was doing hogs, surely in his world, if he's got any questions, stuff he's coming across he hadn't dealt with, he's got a buddy who also does hogs, right?
Exactly.
When you're getting into this, it's not like your next door neighbor is also doing shrimp. So
well, we had it even harder. We were the 3rd in the entire US.
Whew.
When we started, and the first 2 wouldn't talk to you. They were fearful we were going to steal their customers.
Oh.
The first shrimp farm's in Maryland. I'm like, how am I going to steal your customer? I mean, I couldn't figure it out. And we ended up, the farm in Maryland, we became very, very good friends.
Oh.
The sad thing is the second one, they ended up getting a disease in their facility and they closed up.
Oh,
So there are 20 of us across the US now. And the problem most people have with it, it's work. But I mean, I'm sitting here thinking it's work, it's hard work. I mean, I'm sorry, that's why I look the way I do. But it's hard work, but you can be done in 3 hours. It's just that continuous testing every single day, which is where everybody falls short.
sure. So where's the market? Where's the market? So you're raising them, then what? How does the process work?
Mine are actually, people come to our facility. We do 100% retail. Our average customer drives over 2 hours.
Is that right?
Yeah, and they only take 2 to 4 pounds of shrimp with them. It's not, a lot of people are in the misconception that people come in and they take 10, 20, 30 pounds at a time.
Well,
I
that
have
would be me.
50 customers. Everybody wants it fresh.
Oh, sure.
So, and I mean, and since we sell it live, it goes out the door with the legs kicking. But by selling it live, that's the only way we can guarantee you the freshness of the product. We sell it with the head on. The head adds the most beautiful sweetness into the meat. Most Midwesterners, we never get that luxury. Next, there's no deveining our shrimp. That's my favorite part. So basically, there's no prep work to our shrimp. You just cook it as is. So our clients come in, but the fact that we sell it live, we're guaranteeing the freshness.
And are you primarily personal use, commercial use? What?
Ours is mostly personal use. We were in a couple of restaurants in Chicago for about 6 years up until COVID. We were in a grocery store. It was all local. About 80% of everything they sold was local to the area. And we were with them for about 4 or 5 years till COVID. But when COVID hit, we couldn't sell it anymore. And right now, so we had to let go of some of our employees at that point. But I'm back in and I'm doing it all myself, and I get it done a lot faster than they ever did. So
I joked with you before we started recording that when I was growing up, we didn't have a lot of money, but I remember a few times a year we would go to this locally owned seafood place in my town, and we grew up in Illinois, so it's not like we're living on the East Coast or something, you know. And shrimp was always sort of the fancy food, and so still today, as I'm supposed to call myself middle-aged, but let's be honest, we know we're old, right? Still, if I go out, that's like the first thing I look for is shrimp, almost regardless of the restaurant. That has been like a lifelong fascination with me. It's probably my favorite food in the entire world. And I'm curious, these customers that are coming in talking to you, like, what is it? Is it the freshness that you can offer that you can't normally get living in the middle of the country, or what? Like, what's the uniqueness of it?
one, there's no antibiotics or hormones in it. Two,
Okay.
it is the clean. I never knew shrimp could taste so good. I can't eat shrimp out in a restaurant anymore unless I know exactly where it comes from. I have to know where it's coming from. And because doing what I do, I've actually got to visit 17 different countries, training them on what we do here in order for them to raise shrimp, like in Vietnam, China, Thailand. I'm into 17 different countries training people on how to do this. And I get to eat their shrimp. Now, our shrimp still tastes way better than theirs. Mine has this beautiful, clean flavor to it. But I've also seen what comes into this country. And that's the part most people don't know. 96% of all the shrimp that we consume in the US is actually imported. Out of that 96%, only 2% is inspected. Out of that 2%, 60% is rejected. So what do you think we're actually consuming? And most of the times, the reason for the rejection is the antibiotics and hormones that are used in them, because they're actually banned for use in the US, but it's coming into your food. But most animals, when they're given an antibiotic, they have to wait like 3 to 5 days to get it out of their system. Shrimp, it's in their food. So they feed them, they harvest it, they freeze them, and it's frozen in them. And they also, we've seen places where it's literally disgusting, where pigs are growing or shrimp are growing under pig pens. So the only food they get is from the waste in the animal above. We've seen to where ponds, they will literally throw some of the harshest chemicals into it to kill off all the parasites that are in the ponds. And then they dump the shrimp in there. Well, you've got a toxic shrimp that you're actually consuming.
So where's most of the shrimp we're buying, we're importing? Where's it coming from?
Most of it comes from China.
China. Okay. So are
China
you,
and India are our number two.
all right. So this whole trade war thing we've got going on, is that helping American producers then? It's got to be, right?
Oh, we're loving it. I mean, it never affected us personally,
Mm-hmm.
but the shrimp boaters, it affected them. So here's the thing, when that shrimp comes into the US from these foreign countries, they're only paying $6 to $7 a pound. Somebody that harvests it on a boat, they can't compete with that.
Sure.
Because it's costing them at least $10 a pound. So they have to ask for at least 12, 11 to 12. Because I know it cost me when we first started about $12 a pound to raise the shrimp. And we were told we would never get more than $7 a pound. I said, well, then why would I sell it?
Yeah.
I said, that is the stupid business plan I've ever heard in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So we started asking for 15, and right now we're still pretty fair. We're at $22 a pound. You get roughly 18 to 24 shrimp to a pound. So they're pretty good size shrimp.
So where do you see the industry going here? If, you know, and it's hard, we could probably talk all day about all the tariff stuff and trade stuff. That's too far. And honestly, by the time we record this, some policy may have changed and it may change two more times by next week. You never know. But is it enough that you're going to see your industry expand, or more people going to be willing to do what you're doing?
We would love to see more people do what we're doing. But the problem is a lot of people don't want to put the work into it. They think it's an instant gratification.
Mm.
A lot of people think you just throw the shrimp in and they're going to magically grow. So they don't take care of the water. And when you put in 3,000 shrimp and you only pull out maybe 400, that's not a very good economic value there.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we see happening, that a lot of people don't understand. It is work, but I don't know of any business that you start or work at, or especially agriculture, that you're not working. You don't get to sit behind the desk and watch a camera, say, oh, I think the water looks okay. You know, I mean, it doesn't work that way, but that's what we see a lot of people do. Or they think they're going to make $1 million their first year, and I'm
Sure.
sorry.
So
You just
what's
don't.
you know, when we talk to fruit growers, you know, so many times you're talking 4, 5, 6 years, whatever, before you really get going. What's it like in this business?
Shrimp, if you do it correctly, 2 years.
2 years, okay.
And you can actually get your return on investment at the end of 2 years.
Hmm.
Which you're looking, depending on what system you go with, you're looking at about $100,000 to get you started with
Okay.
an 8-tank system. And if you get your return on investment in 2 years, I think that's really good.
Mm-hmm. Now you've made tourism part of your gig too. Why is that important to you?
Well, tourism is my way of getting paid for advertising. That's why we do
You've
it.
used that line before, I can tell.
Well, it's like people ask me, why do you want to do tour? Actually, I never thought anybody would ever want to come and visit a shrimp farm. Economic developer talked me into doing it. And it started out with several schools and universities, and then it's just growing into this huge industry thing for us. We probably about, I want to say about 15-20% of our income comes from tourism.
Is that right?
Yeah, we do in the summer. We do on average 4 to 5 of those tour buses, 60, 70 people every time. And every one of those people come in, they pay for the tour.
Mhm.
And then when they leave, they understand they're in pretty good spirits. They're buying about 25, 30 pounds of shrimp on the way out the door.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm getting paid for advertising my product.
You have merch?
We do. We have
Gotta have
beautiful
that.
t-shirts, we have mugs, we have sweatshirts. So yeah, we do. We actually have a book that I wrote that usually sells out real quick. So
Nice. Now you talked about when you first got into this, you were one of three, and you talked about that one in particular that wasn't quite trusting of maybe what you were trying to do and such. Now that it's grown, you said 20 now, right? In the
mhm.
US. Are you all part of something where you can kind of share sort of best practices and stuff with each other?
No,
Or do you
because
work
the
it on
thing
your
is, it's
own or
kind of
what?
like when we do talk, if somebody has a problem, they'll call somebody else, so we all kind of work together.
Mhm.
But a lot of times, because I'm so stuck in saying this is how it has to be done, or people will try to find a shortcut to do it.
Mm.
I'm not all about the shortcuts. I'm not all about growing them faster, because now you're messing with their DNA. And I don't like that. I mean, I want Mother Nature to do her own thing.
Hmm.
But there's no organization. I mean, there's several aquaculture associations that we belong to. I always recommend any of our clients to belong to them. A lot of them when they go, because most of these aquaculture things don't really talk about shrimp. They'll talk about fish farming or pond farming or tilapia or something like that, but they don't really make it inclusive for shrimp. So that's why a lot of people don't really like going to them.
When it's unique like this, I don't want to get too much in your business, but a lot of people in farm operations don't really think down the line about succession plans and all that kind of stuff. Is it tougher when you have something unique like this, or do you work all the time and you're not really thinking about, hey, I actually want to retire one day?
Oh no, I've got that retirement bug right now. Oh yes, most definitely. But I don't want to quit what I'm doing either.
Yeah.
So we're working on my son to see if he would like to take this over. Because if he would like to take this over, then I will invest the money to expand it for him. But if he doesn't want to take it over, I mean, just when I get ready for retirement, we'll just continue doing this on a part-time basis. Because he just needs to step it up and say, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And he just hasn't said it yet. And I'm like, dude, I got 2 years left. You better figure this
Better
out.
figure it out. I should have probably asked you this, one of the first things I wanted to know about, and then I got interested in other things. But is there a learning curve when you're trying to explain this to people and that they don't understand where the ocean is in Indiana?
Yeah, a lot of times people are kind of like freaked out. We tell them we're raising saltwater shrimp.
Yeah.
And they're like looking at you, and it's like, yeah, I know. Who would have thunk it here in Indiana? But we do have that, but there is a huge learning curve. It took us over 2 years. We lost 1 million shrimp my first year, nearly another million my second year.
Oh my gosh.
But I have a stubborn streak. I know most people would have got out. I needed to make this work.
Yeah.
And all of our clients, we always tell them your first year is going to suck. I have no other way to tell them that because their survival rates are going to be low the first year. You don't have the bacteria to sustain your shrimp. And that's what it all boils down to.
But how'd you figure that out? I mean, you were a rookie at it. How could you possibly know that?
I was a total rookie. I had no chemistry or biology. My degree's in fashion.
Yeah.
I didn't have biology.
That's
or
why you've got
chemistry.
merch.
And the closest thing I got to an aquaculture thing is my son won 2 goldfish at the county fair when he was like 6 years old. That was my closest ever coming to aquaculture. I had to learn it all on my own. And it was one of those things where you're listening to what everybody's telling you to do, all the so-called experts. We found out later, none of them ever raised a shrimp in their life. You're sitting here and you're like, well, this isn't working. Why am I doing this? So I just started changing things that in my mind that I thought would work, and they just happened to work. Because the first thing we changed was our nursery division. We were ordering in 200,000 PLs or post-larvals or the baby shrimp to get 40,000 of them to survive. So we could stock 2 tanks. That's where our large loss came from.
Sure.
Just dying off, and we didn't know. So after about 6 months of doing this, I asked my husband, I go, well, can I change this over and do it my way? He's like, well, you can't do any worse. So I couldn't really. So we changed everything over. We changed the style of the tanks. We changed how we heated them. We changed everything. And the very first time out, I do a 96% survival rate.
Wow.
So now I have about 180,000 shrimp that survived, and I only had 2 tanks to stock them in. So we lost a lot of shrimp that way because we just had nowhere to put them.
Sure.
And so it's a fluke, never going to happen again. So we did it the second time. I ended up with 94% survival rate. So now the other 2 shrimp farms, we started selling our baby shrimp to them so that we just didn't kill them.
Yeah.
So we offered feeder shrimp to them. And so that's how that part of that group, I mean, now I only get in 20,000 shrimp, and I still sometimes offer to other farms to help them get started.
Got it figured out now.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, it was just changing and not listening to what everybody was telling us to do, because everything they were telling us to do was wrong.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest mistakes I made is we've got to keep track of how much solids are in suspension. Our water's brown, and so our airlifts just keep everything rotating off the bottom of the tank. So our water's brown, we can't see, but we need to know how much solids are building up inside the tank. So and then we have, if they get too high, we have to remove it. You can dump it down the drain, or we put them into what we call a settling tank. So it goes into the settling tank, and then it lowers those settled solids inside your tank, and it sits in there, and then it'll totally agitate and clean itself out. Well, one day I ran our solids all the way down to 1 milligram per liter, when we were told to keep them up at 500 milligrams per liter. Okay, I'm in panic mode. I can't make bacteria instantaneously. But at that time, we had our pumps that broke down every other day. So my thought process was, the pump's going to go down, they're all going to die. And I never tell anybody I made this mistake. It didn't work out that way. They literally grew 30 days faster. They were the healthiest looking shrimp. And it was the largest production we produced up to that point.
Wow.
And so we lowered him all the other tanks. And my husband just thought that the water was just working properly at that point. He had no idea I did this to him. And so the gentleman that actually developed the heterotrophic system, I emailed him and asked him if he could visit, because I had a million questions for him, because I just now changed his whole protocol and I didn't know what to expect. So he came out, and when he was leaving, he asked me, he goes, well, why did you decide to change all my protocol? I go, it just came to me. I wasn't about to tell him I made a mistake.
Yeah.
Now literally he's following our protocol. So it was just a mistake that happened, and it worked.
Destined to be unique, just like your mama knew.
And it's just, and I always say, it's attention to all the little details.
Yeah.
And that's where people, they just honestly just think you just throw the shrimp in, they just magically grow. It doesn't work that way. I always tell somebody, do you just throw fish in a fish tank?
Right.
You just let it go?
Doesn't work for very long.
Yeah, I mean, you got filters, you got pumps, you got all that on there, but we have to balance out the water, because the water is my filter for the shrimp.
Fascinating. Our first Karlanea on this podcast. It has been so fun to talk to you and learn about how you do what you do. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Hope you learned a little something.
We learned a lot of somethings. Karlanea Brown, trading the fashion business for the shrimp business. You can learn more about her shrimp farm by checking out our profile piece about her. It's in the American Farmland Owner newsletter. It's free, and you can get it emailed right to your inbox every week. Check it out at AmericanFarmlandOwner.com. Thanks for joining us here on the podcast. We hope you'll tell your friends about it. Let's keep this conversation growing. And thanks for caring about the future of our farmland.